What's up everyone, Ninth Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today, we're talking about Shiftry. This Pokemon's actually pretty cool. It has some really solid stuff. It has great ability, pretty cool move pool that really allows it to be a special attacker or a physical attacker or even a mixed attacker potentially. Pretty solid typing, giving us a lot of resistances as well as a lot of weaknesses. Doesn't matter too much because he is fairly frail, so unless you really go into HP with investments and use something like an Assault Vest or anything, then you're probably going to be two-shotted by everything because of Focus Sash, and that's the way that we went with this build today. We just invested into special attack and speed, and then slapped on a Focus Sash and called it a day. Anyway, so why this Pokemon is really cool is it has an amazing ability called Chlorophyll that doubles its speed whenever Sun is active. So you see this on other Pokemon, things like Vileplume, Venusaur, Lilligant in the past, and it has always been very strong. Honestly, any ability that doubles your speed makes a Pokemon viable, and that's really, really cool. Not having the best stats, but not having terrible stats. This Pokemon's not bad overall. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So Grass Dark typing, giving us that 1 immunity of Psychic, while also giving us 6 resistances and weaknesses. Talking about resistances, we have Water, Electric, Grass, Ground, Ghost, and Dark. All 6 are pretty prevalent in the game, so having those as resistances are pretty sweet. Weaknesses, Fire, Ice, Fighting, Poison, Flying, and Fairy. All of these are also prevalent in the game, so they're kind of bad for this Pokemon. So a couple of big things to highlight here is that Conkeldurr Mach Punch is going to be killing us at a pretty high range, and after our Focus Sash breaks from anything, even potentially weather, or multi-targeting attacks such as Dazzling Gleam or Heat Wave, we do have fighting Mach Punch from Pokemon like Conkeldurr as a very big threat, a very looming threat, so keep that in mind. Other things, Max Ice, what's that attack? Max Avalanche, maybe, from things like, I would say Lapras, but usually it's going to be G Max Lapras, so it won't have that. It'll have a different attack. And then things like maybe Gastrodon, maybe Milotic, they'll knock us down to our Sash, and then end of the turn, when Hail damages, it'll kill the Shiftry, so keep that in mind as well. A couple of other things like that, G Max Charizard move, hitting for super effective, knocking us down to our Sash, and then at the end of the turn, dealing damage with that move. So a couple of things to keep in mind. And then we also have 4 times weakness, which is Bug, which is not super big, but could come up. Next, we have our stats. We'll go ahead and talk about them. So they're not insane, but they're not bad. HP 90 is pretty average, a little above average. It's very solid, but defense and special defense both at 60 is not great. If we use Assault Vest and minimal investment into special defense and potentially into HP, then this Pokemon could be potentially pretty bulky, but only really special defensive. And since it has so many weaknesses, your opponent will be bound to have some kind of physical attacking weakness, super effective attack, making this Pokemon pretty frail, ending up pretty frail. So that's why we went into speed and special attack. Talking about its speed and special attack, or actually speed and physical attack for this build. Attack 100, 90 special attack, both are pretty solid. You can really go either way. It really depends on what you want to use the move pool as. It also has Swords Dance and Growth, so it has multiple ways of buffing those stats, but we went with a physical attack. And then speed 80, mixing that with max investment in Chlorophyll, this Pokemon becomes increasingly fast and really, really fast and really good against most of the meta. So that's going to be about it for our overview. We'll go ahead and talk about the build here. So as far as the build goes, we have a lot of moves that we can use, and this Pokemon is really wide open. You can really use it in a lot of different ways. Like I said, you can use it physically attacking or especially attacking, and you can even use it specially defensive with max investment into HP, minimal potentially in defense or special defense, and then Assault Vest. But the way that we're going with it is a speedy attacker today, physical attacker. So we're using the ability Chlorophyll, like I said. Doubling our speed is really, really amazing. When we're in drought, things like Torkoal and Ninetales can supplement this, as well as even like Prankster with Whimsicott or Sableye using Sunny Day. All sorts of different ways of using this Pokemon. Next, we have our item where you're running Focus Sash on this build. However, you can change it into something like Life Orb to do more damage, but not have that kind of resistance of just dying immediately. Since we didn't go into our defenses at all, we just went into our speed and attack. So Focus Sash is the ideal for this build. But you could go Life Orb or even Expert Belt. to do more damage. And then I also have Assault Vest down there to signify that you can play this Pokemon defensively, and if you do, that would be the item of choice for me. Next, we have our moves. So we went with Solar Blade and Sucker Punch for our stabs, physical attacking moves. You can switch these out with Leaf Blade or Throat Chop, however you want to change them. But I do like Sucker Punch. I think it's really good. And then also, Solar Blade just provides more damage. And instead of 2-turn, it is a 1-turn attack if you're in Drought. And honestly, this Pokemon's only really good when it's in Drought anyway. Other than those two, we went with Fake Out and Protect. Protect just helping us out with a little bit of leftover. I don't even really know. I just like Protect. I think it's good and valuable in this set. Next, we have Fake Out. Fake Out is just really, really good in general. And it's really the biggest thing that differentiates the Shiftry with Venusaur. You have Fake Out and Sucker Punch instead of, like Sleep Powder. Off of the other Pokemon, and then it's alternate typing of Dark. It's secondary typing of Dark instead of Poison. So there are some differences. However, I would probably say, Venusaur is most likely better. It's obviously better as far as the tier list and usage percentage goes, but you can definitely still play this Pokemon. It's pretty interesting. So some other things that we have are some really good tools, really good attacks. We have some good coverage moves as well as special attacks, so we'll cover those now. So we have Rock Slide as another option for physical attacking. Rock Slide is very solid. It does a lot of damage, spread damage, has a chance of flinching, and when you're so fast, you have that chance of flinching always against almost every other Pokemon. So that's really, really strong. Rock Slide is a very valuable move to have on here. You can switch it out with Fake Out. You can switch it out with Protect. But I'd probably want to keep one of each physical attacking stab moves, whether, you change them to the Throat Chop or Leaf Blade or whatever. And then we also have Swords Dance as an option. I don't put this on this set because I really only like Swords Dance and moves of the sort with Follow Me typically. And a lot of leads with this is going to be this and a Sunsetter. So you're probably not going to be able to set Follow Me turn 1, but it's still an option. Then we have some stuff here for special attacking. So we have Leaf Storm and Energy Ball as a really good grass special attacking move, stab move. And then we also have Dark Pulse for our Dark Stab special attacking move. All these are good. And then we have a couple of good utility as well as coverage moves. Heat Wave and Hurricane giving you really good coverage, as well as giving you good max moves. Heat Wave being able to turn into Max Flare, setting your own Sun, or resetting Sun if they bring out something like a Tyranitar. And then we also have Hurricane, which gives us Max Airstream, which boosts you and your partner Pokemon using maybe this plus Ninetales as your lead, setting Sun and then maxing, hitting a Max Airstream, making Ninetales faster than both of your opposing Pokemon most likely, can be a really cool little thing can be a really cool little tactic as well. Then next we have Snarl as well, giving us just a little bit of utility, lowering both of your opponent's special attack stat by 1. It's also neat that it's stab, which is pretty cool. That's going to be about it for our moves, a lot of them that you can use. There's other options here as well, like growth, like I was saying, for the special attack to supplement that, but it's just another option. We'll go ahead and talk about EVs real quick. So it's pretty basic, this build. We just went 252 into attack and 252 into speed, and then 4 into HP. Overall, it's very basic and just deals the most amount of damage while being really, really fast. We don't need to put that nature into speed because we don't really outspeed much other stuff because of that, and I'll show you in my damage calcs here in one moment. So for our synergetic Pokemon, before we leave this slide, we have Torkoal, Ninetales, Whimsicott, Sableye, a bunch of Pokemon that can set Sun. Torkoal is the one of choice here just because it sets it the easiest. It's very strong, and you can use it as a Trick Room mode on your team, so that your team can be very, very versatile. Next, we also have Charizard, another Pokemon that really takes advantage of Sun because of that solar power ability, whether you use Gmax or regular Charizard. That's going to be about it for our build slide. Here we'll go ahead and talk about some speed tiers. So as far as speed tiers go, we are very, very close to the top, on the same speed tier as Venusaur, hitting that 264 with Chlorophyll active at neutral 252. The only things outspeeding us is Excadrill, but obviously it would if it was in Sandrush because it would change the weather, and then we would go back down to 132. But for this example, Excadrill can outspeed us with Sandrush. And then also Hawlucha with Unburden active. However, you don't see Hawlucha very much. So typically you're going to be outspeeding everything except like Prankster Pokemon, which is like obviously. So then things that we do outspeed. So we outspeed a lot of Scarf Pokemon and other Pokemon of the with abilities of the sort of chlorophyll, things like Swift Swim and other chlorophyll users like Pokemon like Vileplume would just outspeed, and other like all the Swift Swim users. But obviously, like I said, in a weather wars, you know, whoever has the weather currently is gonna have their heightened Pokemon be faster than the opposing Pokemon, obviously, you know, because if it's raining, then chlorophyll's not active. So things that we do outspeed though: Scarf Hydreigon, Scarf Galarian Darmanitan, Scarf Rotom. All three of these builds have been on the decline. We haven't seen them in a little while, but they are still out there. They're very powerful, and we outspeed them all, which is very, very good. Things that we don't outspeed when we're not in chlorophyll. So if we're not in chlorophyll, we're at 132 on the same speed tier as Pokemon like Togekiss, Chandelure, Braviary, but all of those other than Togekiss will be max speed, so they'll be outspeeding us if chlorophyll is not active. But if we are not active with chlorophyll, like say your opponent switches out like Tyranitar or something, then things like common Duraludon sets will outspeed us, common Butterfree sets will outspeed us, will be on the same speed tier as a lot of Togekiss. However, most of the time we'll be outspeeding Togekiss, most aren't max speed. And then we also have Tyranitar, always going to be underspeeding us unless it's Scarf, which is really good. Even if they bring out a Tyranitar, we're most likely outspeeding the Tyranitar, which is really good, unless it's Scarf, like I said. Yeah, that's about it for our speed tiers. We'll go ahead and talk about some damage calcs. So as far as damage calcs go, honestly, Shiftry is underperforming a little bit. We see Venusaur being very, very high in usage percentage just because it's so powerful. It also has Sleep Powder, but we are about the same special attacking tier as Venusaur. Venusaur is actually like not too much more impressive. So as far as just raw power goes, its special attack is 100, while our attack is 100. So we should be dealing out pretty similar damage with Solar Beam or like its Leaf Storm as our Solar Blade. I mean, obviously Leaf Storm is a little bit better, but only for that first attack. And so yeah, like we deal pretty similar damage to Venusaur. However, our utility is the fact that we have Fake Out and Sucker Punch when it has, Sleep Powder. So first off, we have Sucker Punch into a Dynamax Dragapult, hitting 42.6 to 51%, providing us a very, very small chance of 2-hit KOing, but that's not really what we're going for. It's more of the case that, you know, if you chip out a little bit of damage on that, say you have a Togekiss out in Dazzling Gleam and hits 50 to 60%, and then, activates their weakness policy, so now that Dragapult is a huge, huge threat, you bring out your Sucker Punch, and you can just Sucker Punch for 40 to 50%, and dealing that final knockout damage on that Dragapult to take it out. So that's a big point of that. And then we also have, if the Dynamax or the Dragapult is not Dynamax, or if it's after it's Dynamax, then we do hit 85 to 102%. So even after like 1 or 2 Life Orb ticks, you are knocking it out Oko every time, which is really good. Next, we have Solar Blade into defensive Rotom, and not very defensive, just 252 HP, hitting 118 to 138%, guaranteed Oko. That is our best damage calc, honestly. Next, we have Solar Blade into a Milotic, a defensive Milotic, hitting 81 to 96%, guaranteed to hit KOing, is guaranteed to live. However, if you Dynamax, and you hit it with a max overgrowth, you do have a 43.8% chance to Oko, which is really good, hitting that 92 to 107%. Next, we have our Dynamaxed Overgrowth into a G-Maxed Lapras, very defensive, 228 HP and 124 defense, hitting a 95.3% chance to 2-hit KO. Now, this is provided they don't use Resonance. If they do Resonance, then they guaranteed live 2 attacks, because it sets their Aurora Veil. Even though we outspeed it the first time, the second one will not kill no matter what, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's not a great matchup with Lapras, which you would think we have a great matchup with, but we just don't. So that's going to be it for our damage calcs. We'll talk about Single Spotlight real quick, and then I'll get out of your hair. So as far as Single Spotlight goes with Shiftry, we are using it very similarly to our other build. However, we're using Life Orb instead of Focus Sash just so we can do the most amount of damage, and we're using it as a special attacker. We're using Growth instead of Swords Dance on this build. However, you can use it either way. Like I said, physically attacking or special attacking is fine. We have Growth. You can just change that out with Swords Dance and then change all of its attacks. Solar Blade, Dark Will. Actually, that's supposed to be Solar Beam, since it's a special attacking build. So, whoops. Anyway, so yeah, Solar Beam. As white. Whoops. Oh well. So yeah, Solar Beam. You can't even read that. You can change it to Solar Beam. So you can use it as a mixed attacker or a regular attacker. You can change, if you use it as a mixed attacker, you can just change it to like Lonely, so it's dealing attack and then losing defense, or the other one, the one for special attack. Anyway, so either way, I don't think on singles you're gonna be using Shiftry too much. Honestly, Shiftry is really cool. That's gonna be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. But in sum up, you know, Shiftry is pretty cool. It has some other utility usages other than what Venusaur has. You know, Venusaur sleeps, and this Pokemon has Fake Out and Sucker Punch. Honestly, in sum up, I think Venusaur is marginally better, maybe even more than marginally better. But I mean, we definitely see that throughout, you know, usage percentages and so on and so forth. But I think Shiftry is a really cool Pokemon and definitely worth a try if you want a break from the normal like Sun teams, which is really cool. I think Shiftry is a really good Pokemon. It has some really good stuff. Fake Out's really good, and its attack stat is like very similar to Venusaur, and speed stat is the exact same. Honestly, it's very similar to Venusaur, but without having sleep, which is one of the best things about Venusaur. Anyway, that's going to be it for the video. So if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. If you want to, comment down below a Pokemon that you want to see a guide on, or, you know, for a team or a battle. Just comment, you know, whatever you want to see. I try to please the people. So that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good evening.